When Blake's 7 first launched, viewers expected another ordinary late 70s sci-fi. But what they got instead was a strange, ambitious, unpredictable universe filled with dark ideas, improvised miracles, and secrets that remained hidden for decades.
It's the best robotic engineering I've ever seen.
Fact 1.
You may have heard of me. My name is Blake.
Gareth Thomas never intended to remain the show's central figure for more than the first season, and this early uncertainty shaped how writers constructed the story around him. Thomas believed Blake should function as a catalyst rather than a permanent leader driving every episode. He worried that staying too long would limit his creative opportunities outside television. Producers quietly accepted his preference because they already planned for an ensemble-driven narrative. His sudden absence later in the series confused viewers who assumed there had been backstage conflict. In reality, much of it was mapped out before filming even began. Writers designed Blake to be morally complex and symbolically powerful rather than constantly present. Thomas himself enjoyed the mystery surrounding the character's comings and goings. Cast members later said they always sensed Blake was never meant to dominate the show forever. His unpredictability became a defining feature of early storylines. Fans speculated endlessly about his reduced role, unaware that it was partly by design. The show benefited from the vacuum left when Blake departed. His absence strengthened other character arcs, especially Avon's unexpected rise. Blake's limited involvement created a uniquely unstable world for a sci-fi series.
Good shot, Avon.
I was aiming for his head.
Fact 2.
That's what we're supposed to find out. Execution may have some appeal after all.
Let's go.
Paul Darrow originally auditioned for a small, sarcastic supporting part, yet his intense delivery immediately suggested a far larger dramatic potential. Writers noticed how Darrow's cold precision created a magnetic contrast with Blake's idealism. His deadpan humour began to reshape the tone of scenes he appeared in. Directors quickly expanded his presence after witnessing his command during early rehearsals. Fan letters praising Avon poured in almost immediately. Darrow embraced Avon's moral ambiguity more boldly with each episode. Writers started crafting plots around his ruthlessness and brilliance. The show gradually shifted focus from Blake's crusade to Avon's internal conflict. Cast members realized they were witnessing a rare, organic takeover of a narrative. Avon became one of British sci-fi's most iconic anti-heroes through performance alone. Producers acknowledged that Darrow had changed the show from the inside out. His popularity influenced future story arcs and character dynamics. Avon's rise remains one of the most surprising creative evolutions in genre television.
Why?
Automatic reaction. I'm as surprised as you are.
Fact 3.
Is Travis dead?
The BBC provided a notoriously tiny effects budget for Blake's 7, forcing the visual team to assemble models from leftover parts discarded by earlier productions. Spaceship hulls were built using plastic trays, electrical scraps, and model kit remnants. Laser effects were hand-drawn, frame by frame onto film cells. Exploding planets were simulated using paint swirling through water tanks filmed in macro close-up. Even the Liberator model began as a pile of unwanted materials rescued from storage rooms. Corridors on board ships were reused repeatedly with only lighting changes to disguise them. Cast members often joked that imagination was carrying the show more than the props. These limitations pushed directors toward inventive shot compositions. The gritty texture that emerged suited the series' bleak tone far more than slick visuals could have. Fans later embraced the effects for their handmade charm. The production's resourcefulness became legendary over time. Audiences came to appreciate how ambition triumphed over budget. The entire aesthetic of the show was shaped by necessity rather than design.
Yes, I worked on that project too.
Small world.
Large project.
I didn't work on it.
Fact 4.
My only chance of getting off this planet is if I can make contact with a serviceable Federation ship. That possibility seems fairly remote.
Terry Nation crafted the Terran Federation as a pointed reflection of 1970s political anxiety and growing distrust in institutional power. Surveillance scandals and authoritarian rhetoric inspired many of the Federation's protocols. Nation studied real government language and repurposed bureaucratic phrasing to create chilling slogans. Writers leaned heavily into themes of corruption, control, and propaganda. Cast members commented on how disturbingly relevant the scripts felt. Fans saw the Federation not as fantasy, but as a warning. The oppressive systems mirrored real tensions in Britain and Europe during the decade. The show's bleak political tone made it stand apart from hopeful sci-fi of the era. Nation believed rebellion stories should avoid glamorous optimism. His commitment to realism grounded the drama in unsettling authenticity. The Federation's cold efficiency became one of the show's defining features. Viewers recognized the parallels instantly. This infusion of real-world influence elevated the series into a surprisingly mature commentary on power.
Talked about it and discovered we care what happens to you.
Within reason, of course.
We're as surprised about it as you are.
Fact 5.
Nearest pursuit ship.
900 spatials. Liberator is now out of detector range.
Set designers built the Liberator's interior months before any artist had finalized what the ship's exterior would look like, resulting in an accidental mismatch that shaped the ship's mystique. Scripts required interior scenes immediately, so the team improvised geometric corridors and glowing panels without reference to anything external. When the effects department eventually revealed the exterior model, it looked entirely different in style. Designers scrambled to adjust aesthetics, but ultimately embraced the mismatch. The contrast accidentally made the ship feel more alien than originally planned. Cast members described the interior as elegant, mysterious, and unlike any other sci-fi design of the time. Fans assumed this stylistic difference was intentional world building. The truth was simply chaotic scheduling behind the scenes. Yet the interior became iconic because of its strange geometry and color palette. The mismatch between outside and inside gave the Liberator character depth unintentionally. The ship felt ancient and advanced at the same time. Production accidents often define great sci-fi, and the Liberator was born from one of the best.
Battle stations.
Give me bearing and number of hostiles.
Battle computers will specify 3 seconds.
Activate the force wall.
Fact 6.
What's your name?
Jenna Stannis.
Stannis. That's who she is.
Jenna Stannis began as a darker, morally ambiguous smuggler,
I'm a free trader.
A smuggler.
but the creative direction of the show shifted her tone almost immediately due to internal disagreements. Sally Knivett initially loved the complexity in early drafts, which allowed Jenna to be unpredictable and fiercely independent. As scripts developed, writers softened her personality to highlight Blake's leadership more clearly. Knivett often expressed concerns that Jenna was losing depth. The creative tension influenced how scenes were written throughout the season. Writers struggled to balance her smuggler past with her newfound loyalty. Fans noticed inconsistencies in her portrayal across episodes. Knivett frequently advocated for more agency and dramatic weight. Despite changes, Jenna remained a vital presence in the Liberator crew. Her character helped establish early team dynamics. Knivett later said Jenna never reached her full potential. The tonal shift became one of the show's lingering creative regrets. Jenna's evolving portrayal reflected the broader uncertainty shaping Season 1.
There isn't anything you couldn't have.
What about Blake?
What about him?
No.
Fact 7.
You have some criticism of my handling of this matter, Secretary Ronte?
Servalan was originally conceived as a stiff, older male bureaucrat, but Jacqueline Pearce's audition redefined the role completely by injecting elegance, menace, and sensual power into every line. Producers instantly realized they had discovered something far more compelling than the original concept. Pearce embraced the character with calm intensity and chilling restraint. Her performance reshaped scripts to give Servalan greater influence.
Yes, and I've heard of your impudence. Now perhaps you will tell me how to manipulate the controls.
Directors encouraged her commanding screen presence. Fans became captivated by her unpredictable cruelty. Pierce's costumes further elevated the character's aura. Servalan's soft-spoken authority contrasted sharply with her brutal decisions. The character grew into one of sci-fi's most iconic antagonists. Her dynamic with Avon became central to later storylines. Writers expanded her arc because Pierce made her unforgettable. The transformation was entirely actor-driven rather than planned. Servalan became a masterclass in reinvention that left a permanent legacy.
Project Avalon has failed totally. There will be a full inquiry. Until that time, you are relieved of your command.
Fact 8.
I can't. The teleport controller's burned out.
What did you do?
Not a thing. It blew all by itself.
The teleport system on the Liberator never had a consistent rulebook, and this flexibility caused frequent continuity confusion that fans still debate today. Different directors interpreted the device's limitations differently depending on scene needs. Sometimes bracelets required exact coordinates, while other times they worked through chaos with no explanation.
What's this then, eh?
It's nothing. It's of no value.
Oh, really? And you won't be needing it, will you?
Writers regularly used the teleport as both a rescue device and a narrative complication. Cast members joked they needed to relearn the rules every episode. The inconsistency appeared even within the same season. Special effects teams improvised visual cues depending on budget. Fans attempted to map the teleport's behavior but found contradictions everywhere. Despite issues, the teleport provided countless dramatic moments. It allowed scenes to shift rapidly between danger and escape. The flexibility often saved episodes running behind schedule. The lack of fixed rules eventually became part of the show's charm. Its unpredictability added to the universe's chaotic energy.
Really do teleport, do you?
Over short distances, yes.
Fact 9.
Battle and navigation computers online.
Confirm.
Compute an initial evasion course to take the flagship in Delta 7 out of line.
The show's miniature spacecraft models suffered constant technical problems, turning filming into a daily battle against malfunctioning equipment. Motion control rigs frequently jammed mid-shot. Paint chipped from delicate surfaces under harsh studio lights. Some models tilted unexpectedly during camera passes, ruining footage. Effects teams patched damage using tape, glue, and improvised supports.
Fire main blasters.
Directors adapted scenes to hide flaws rather than reshoot expensive takes. Cast members jokingly referred to the ships as held together by hope. Imperfections in animation produced unplanned wobbling during flyby scenes. Fans later embraced these quirks as part of the show's handmade authenticity. The unpredictability forced editors to become extremely creative. Model mishaps contributed unintentionally to the gritty atmosphere. The effects team considered every successful shot a small victory. The models became beloved symbols of low-budget ingenuity. Each flaw helped define the series' unique visual identity.
Holding course.
Weapon systems primed for firing.
Lock on target.
Target fixed.
Fact 10.
Quite well, but you're still a woman.
Action scenes in Blake 7 were ambitious but often rehearsed with limited time, resulting in frequent minor injuries among the cast. Actors performed more stunts themselves than safety guidelines would allow today. Gareth Thomas injured his hand during an aggressive struggle sequence. Paul Darrow bruised ribs after misjudging a fall on set. Props occasionally snapped or failed unexpectedly, adding risk to scenes. Studios offered minimal padding beneath costumes. Cast members kept performing despite discomfort to avoid slowing production. Fight choreography was often improvised on shooting days. Directors relied heavily on actors' instincts rather than strict planning. Injuries became a running joke behind the scenes. Fans assumed the intensity came from deliberate realism. In truth, it came from fast schedules and bold performers. The cast's physical commitment added grit to the show. Their endurance shaped its tough, dangerous world.
You give your allegiance easily?
I don't give my allegiance at all. I sell my skill.
Fact 11.
Avon, why do you keep everything to yourself? Why so secretive?
Perhaps I'm shy.
Writing deadlines for Blake's 7 were notoriously tight, meaning entire scripts were sometimes finished only hours before production meetings began, creating constant tension across the writing team. Terry Nation worked under immense pressure to deliver storylines quickly. Directors described the process as chaotic but strangely energizing. Scenes were rewritten on set when pacing problems appeared. Actors often received new dialogue moments before filming. This approach created unexpected character moments born from improvisation. Structural inconsistencies reflected the frantic schedule more than creative intention. Cast members became skilled at adapting instantly to last-minute changes. Fans later recognized unusual tonal shifts within single episodes. Some narrative threads existed purely because they filled time gaps. The rushed process allowed accidental brilliance to slip through. Imperfect structure became part of the show's gritty identity. The pressure cooker environment helped define Blake's 7's unpredictable storytelling.
Staying with you requires a degree of stupidity of which I no longer feel capable.
No, you're just being modest.
Fact 12.
Well, how can you enjoy yourself staying here?
Well, maybe it's got something to do with the fact that you won't be.
Oh, thank you.
Outdoor shoots frequently threw the cast into unforgiving British winters, demanding long hours in freezing mud with minimal shelter available between takes. Costumes provided little insulation, making conditions especially difficult. Makeup ran constantly due to rain and wind. Electrical equipment malfunctioned on damp terrain. Studio interiors were no easier because lighting rigs produced intense heat. Poor ventilation caused actors to overheat during long sequences. Sweat disrupted continuity and required repeated touch-ups. Crew members worked grueling days to stay on schedule. The physical strain bonded the cast tightly. Many later recalled the discomfort with bittersweet humour. Harsh conditions lent authenticity to the show's bleak universe. Environmental challenges shaped the performances noticeably. The weather became an uncredited character influencing every scene.
Our scanners only see one at a time, and we can't get either on visual because we're in the permanent dark side. Confirm that's it.
Fact 13.
Supposing I made you a better offer?
You're a pretty woman, Jenna, but not that pretty.
Viewer responses poured into the BBC throughout early seasons, and producers paid closer attention to fan reactions than many realised, adjusting character arcs in response. Avon's popularity skyrocketed after only a few episodes, surprising the writers. Vila's comedic charm also resonated strongly with audiences. Jenna and Callie developed passionate followings. Writers studied letters to understand what viewers valued. Some plot ideas were softened because fans disliked excessive tragedy. Planned character exits were delayed to avoid backlash. The creative team gradually tailored emotional beats to audience expectation. Cast members were shocked by how influential fan feedback became. The conversation between creators and viewers shaped long-term planning. Fans unknowingly steered certain story directions. This level of responsiveness was rare for the era. The fandom essentially co-authored parts of the series. Audience passion left a permanent mark on Blake's 7.
Orak, this rock, this sopron, does it have a greater capacity for reasoning than you do?
Fact 14.
We came here to get a sample of Pylene 50 in the hope that someone could advise us.
Somebody already has.
From its earliest outlines, the show was designed to conclude with a grim, shocking finale, rather than a triumphant victory, reflecting Terry Nation's belief that rebellion stories seldom end cleanly. Writers envisioned escalating tragedy long before the final scripts. Avon's journey in particular was built toward inevitable collapse. Discussions about the tone of the final episode were intense and lengthy. Producers debated how far they could push broadcast boundaries. The final script embraced the show's darkest instincts. Cast members were stunned upon reading it for the first time. Fans expected at least partial hope, but the writers refused sentimentality. The ambiguity surrounding Avon's last moments amplified the shock. Viewers argued passionately about the ending for decades. Critics praised its emotional boldness. The finale cemented the show's cult status. It remains one of television's most talked about conclusions. Fact 15.
I wouldn't run it through the computer just yet, Diva. You see, this one has a very high Federation price on his head.
To preserve maximum impact, producers kept the final scene hidden until the day it was filmed, withholding the last page of the script from all actors. When the reveal came, their shock was genuine. Paul Darrow described the moment as emotionally overwhelming. The cast processed the revelation in stunned silence. The raw surprise fed directly into their performances. Directors captured the tension without needing additional rehearsal. Few productions at the time used such secrecy. The tactic ensured authentic reactions during the climactic standoff. Fans later noted the realism in the cast's expressions. The ambiguity of Avon's final pose added even deeper tension. Only a handful of crew members knew the twist in advance. The secrecy became part of the legends surrounding the finale. It remains one of British sci-fi's most masterful surprises.